So welcome back to my channel. On this video I will be showing you a pin that I turned several years ago. I started out my wood lathing journey doing pins and pencils and small objects like chess pieces and dowels for certain objects. I can only do short dowels because you don't have to have a steady rest to do anything really long. But in this video here, I'm making a slimline pin, and I'm turning the pin down to the size of the two little metal parts on either end of that piece of wood there, and the size of those beside the ending piece of the size of the pin. So like where the pin hooks into the nib at the end where the pin comes out, and where the in the case of a slimline, the collar for between the two goes. So there's basically, you take a piece of wood, you drill a hole in it, you glue in a brass insert, you wait for that to dry, you trim off each end until it's flush with the brass and square, and then you put it on the lathe on this mandrel and use these little dies, I guess you could call them. I don't know exactly what you would call them. I can't remember the name of them. They come with each pin kit style. Well, you buy them for each pin kit style. So, as you can see, I just got through sanding it with the sandpaper, and I'm going to go to the micro mesh. The sandpapers I use are 100, 180, 320, 400, and 600, and then we go on to these micro mesh that start out at 1,000 grit and go all the way up to this final one that I'll be at in a minute, that is 12 million grit. And there's a progression in between there, and it's an oddball progression, so I can't even remember what it is to tell you. But once I get it all sanded down that smooth, we're going to put a glove on because this stuff is nasty that I'm putting on here. It's a friction polish that I can't even get anymore. I only have some of it left, and it was solid as a rock. It dries up, and there's no way to reconstitute it. So I basically had to end up throwing the rest of it away. And now we take the pieces off up there. I'm going to put a couple more chunks on here for another one that I'm going to turn another day. I think this is actually one that I showed the video of already. It's Purple Heart. Doesn't look like Purple Heart, but it is Purple Heart. It's Purple Heart is only purple for a certain period of time, and then in the sun it will actually get dark brown. I mean a really dark brown. So now we're going to move over to the pin assembly. So we get all the little parts out, and they come in individual bags so they don't get, scratched up or scuffed up. And then you start with the nib on the end, and you take your pin press. And I know it's way out of view over there, but basically it's just like a press you would use for pressing bottle caps on a bottle, except for it's horizontal. And then you press the nib in, and then you got to put in the what they call the transmission. In this case, I believe is what they call it. It's a twist pin, so you basically have to shove this into a certain distance, and you have to keep checking it with the actual pin refill, which is a cross refill in this case. And you have to do this and then twist it open until it comes out the pin the right amount. And if it doesn't come out, you put it back in, you press it in a little bit farther, not to go too far, because you go too far it's going to stick out too far and look funny. Put it back in, you test it, and after you're satisfied how it goes, you put on the little collar I was talking about that goes between the two pieces of wood, and that part's ready to go. So now you have to put the pin cap and the pin clip on the other end of the wood. And there's a grain direction on wood, so you want to make sure you get the back end of that, so you're not making the grain direction go the opposite way, which would look silly. So then you put that in the press, and you press that down tight, and you put the pin together, and then you just line up your grain. however you want it. You can either line it up when the pin's open, or you can line it up when the pin's closed. I prefer to go to where it lines up with the pin closed, and we are done. And that's how you make a pin. Thanks for watching.